Which actor or celebrity is smarter than we usually give him her credit for? Atticus said. Wallace Shawn Vizzini from The Princess Bride is a Harvard graduate with a degree in history. He also studied Latin, philosophy, economics and politics at Oxford and was also a Fulbright scholar. So, while Cary Elwes is no dimwit, he probably would not have triumphed in a genuine battle of wits with Shawn. Dave Brubeck Quartet said. One of the things I love about Woody Allen's Manhattan is that the Diane Keaton character endlessly talks up her brilliant ex. What a genius and wonderful and beautiful and sexual and giant of a man he is, and then when Woody Allen finally meets him, it's Wallace Shawn. Short, balding, tubby, lisping Wallace Shawn, and Allen can't believe it. Supposedly, Allen cast him because Shawn is simply that brilliant of a man and Allen wanted to portray him as he actually thought he should be, a true Renaissance man who deserves all the praise. Also, My Dinner with Andre. Gurkenstein said. Michael Herbert Schur, Moe's Scroot from The Office. When I read his bio I was amazed to see that Mose went to Harvard. Then there are his credits. The Office, Parks and Recreation, The Good Place, Brooklyn 9-9. A genius in comedy and writing. Nadia Arsmayan said. This is my favorite quote from her. I make jokes about it, but it's the truth that I kinda patterned my look after the town tramp. I didn't know what she was, just this woman who was blonde and piled her hair up, wore high heels and tight skirts, and, boy, she was the prettiest thing I'd ever seen. Mama used to say, she's just trash, and I thought, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Trash. Singing Bullet Bitch said. Her life story is crazy. She apparently decided to become an actress when she was on holiday in Africa, got malaria, and had a fever dream where she won an Oscar. Chose Earthling said. I was checking if somebody mentioned her. This surprised me a lot, but listening to her speeches it shows a lot of intelligence and dry humor. She has used her law degree to change the rating of a movie that she produced. I think it was Hustle and she went to an arbitration to have it rated PG-13. Hooch said. Charlie Day is a really smart guy. He usually plays characters not too dissimilar from Charlie Kelly on Always Sunny. But Earl is a multi-instrumentalist, writer, producer, and just an all-around intelligent guy. Woozthueb said. Rowan, you're doing really good in these classes and are on track to be a stellar doctor, but I have to be honest, those faces you make when you make a mistake and your proclivity to getting into comically odd circumstances, I really think that's where your moneymaker is? Rowan looks shocked at this as a beaker of chemicals explodes on a table behind him and covers him in a foam. Jacobiter said. Hedy Lamarr was a famous actress sex symbol in the 1940s who also was a self-taught inventor, most famously figuring out a way to jam the frequency of German radio-controlled torpedoes during World War II. Whoboy401 said. I was going to chime in and say he hasn't practiced medicine in years and isn't even licensed, because I am 99% sure I heard that in the past, but luckily I looked it up because I am very wrong. He practiced medicine full-time until 2006 and maintains his license in case he needs it. Apparently he has assisted with medical emergencies on set. Crazy shit. https://www.hollywoodreporter.com/news/general-news/ken-jong-how-ditch-medicine-8174778/ Philo Phocian said. Actually insane. He got married 2 years before that transition too. Always easy to say you'll support your spouse's dreams, but a tougher sell when you're just married and both doctors and your husband suddenly wants to do his comedy hobby as a full career switch. Especially when there were so few roles for Asian American actors, especially non-martial arts fighting Asian men. Plus frankly a lot of his early roles involved taking some pretty questionable stereotype roles. The advocate said. No, that was a false rumor. His wife was perfectly fine, but he did have to take a huge gamble as they weren't really successful, as they both had only become doctors and the bills were high. He repeatedly tells in his stand-up comedy shows how supportive his wife was through it all. Edit. I also remember he had a lot of scheduling conflicts with The Hangover, but Bradley Cooper loved having him around and made sure the scheduling worked along with transportation, as him and his wife, both worked at Kaiser Permanente, which is a huge hospital chain in California. Thurston has said. Brian May from Queen. born July 19, 1947, is an English musician, singer, songwriter, record producer, author, astrophysicist, and university administrator. The Brain Tickler said, "It was the gotta keep them separated line. SRC, also PhD in biology stuff and listened to them as a kid. When dealing with 98 well PCR plates it can get confusing, you really do gotta keep them separated. Then you want to take them out, and he went to USC so he probably looked out the window and saw a lot of gang violence. It's not in the best neighborhood." Bleard too said, he dropped out of school when Queen started to get big in 1974, but then went back and dusted off his thesis to finally finish his PhD in 2007. "I guess it's lucky he was doing astrophysics. I'm not sure how many science subjects you can have a 30-year pause in doing a thesis and still have it be relevant given how fast science moves." Name Classified said, "In quite possibly the greatest understatement of all time, he wrote that the writing of my thesis was virtually complete in 1974, but the submission was deferred due to various pressures. You just know that someone on his committee was oblivious and asked him what those various pressures were." Quarantine Titans said, Conan O'Brien. "He plays a bit of a gullible everyman on TV, because it makes for an entertaining character. He's a great host because he keeps the focus on humor and conversing at the same level as his guests. He seems like somebody who would skip the crossword, but solve the jumble. But in actuality, he's a Harvard graduate. He just doesn't like bringing that up. Men's got an image to uphold." Smelly Assholes said, "Yeah, I'm really into a lot of different types of music and K$Hi is one of the only pop artists I listen to often. She knows exactly what she's doing and making good money marketing it. If you listen to her first album knowing in hindsight you'll see she was selling exactly what was popular at the time. Her lyrics are also super hilarious and I can't get enough of them. She seems almost like a parody of herself and I liked her older stuff a lot. Her newest album Rainbow is really good too." Pogo Stick Massacre said, Henry Rollins. Fronted Black Flag and his own band. Often thought of as a dumb angry guy liked fighting. He is extremely well read, is a prolific writer, hosts his own radio show, is a spoken word comedian, podcaster, wrote a column for the LA Times, talented actor, and travels the world on a regular basis. He is a thoughtful speaker, polite to a fault, humble to self-deprecating levels, a spaz, and one of the biggest fanboys of rock and punk era music. I met him on one of his trips to a southern city I lived in. He is genuinely decent human being." Dequee said, "Tom Morello is so interesting. His mother started an organization against censorship in music. His father was a Kenyan guerrilla during the Mau Mau uprising. His uncle was the first president of Kenya. He went to high school with Adam Jones of the Bantu from which he graduated with honors. Got his BA in political sciences social studies, I stand corrected, from Harvard with honors. Worked as a stripper. Worked for Democratic Senator Alan Cranston. Wanted to become a DJ instead of a guitar player, which he attributes to his signature sound. He's still politically active, surprise. I really hope he writes an autobiography at some point." Big Shoots said, "She's actually a social media genius, one of the very first. Say what you will about your work and the results of it, but the social media landscape of today has her fingerprints all over it. She basically mastered it before anyone else, and today's social products are largely built on her influence. She made a ton of money, and as far as I know doesn't seem too interested in chasing either fame or money anymore, but I suspect she easily could if she wanted to." Agilkin 9308 said, "I've always thought this about her, and it makes me so happy that she is finally owning it. Her documentary was amazing, and heartbreaking, and I'm glad she's finally getting some fucking recognition for all of the work she puts into her brand and businesses. She's one of the most famous recognizable people in the world, and that's no accident. That's years and years of calculated work and dedication on her part." Natvo Ultrais said, "I'm glad she's finally getting some fucking recognition for all of the work she puts into her brand and businesses. She's one of the most famous recognizable people in the world, and that's no accident. That's years and years of calculated work and dedication on her part. And that's one huge indication of general intelligence, actual smarts. Most of the top comments are just celebs who have a higher educational degree. You can study for 5 years and get a PhD in physics and still be plain dumb in your day-to-day life. No Grapefruit 520 said. Exactly. She was the star of well-known movies like Leon the Professional. So many child actors go on to study in huge unis. Emma Watson, Brown, the dude from Narnia, Oxford. Being a worldwide famous star does help. Not that they aren't smart too. But so are lots of others. Half of Hollywood signed the Polanski petition. Snooki went off on a debate about how raping the young teen wasn't exactly rape or some shit. And now they act like such lifelong pioneers of righteousness and good deeds. Hypocrites, most of Hollywood. PAWG Lover 84 said. I find it so unfair how Simple Jack was ridiculed in the media. Yay, the script and direction was bad at times, but you could tell Speedman went full method acting for this one. Some say too much actually. I personally think that the premise of Simple Jack was better than Forrest Gump. The whole movie is built on that as nostalgia, and even though it's shot amazingly, I think people mistake the grand stage and its emotions and target what they feel towards Forrest Gump while he could be anybody. And Tom Hanks went to retard IMHO. Simple Jack focused on one character, one setting, and did not have the luxury to transport the main character to literally everywhere at any time. And I know that most say the part about speaking to animals part was dumb but I think this was all in Jack's fantasy, letting us see his world and not ours. Bold move actually. Edit. I still love the Scorcher movies. I think Speedman can do both action and serious drama if he is the right director. X1 Cygnus said. I don't mean to be that guy, but I wouldn't consider her smarter than we give her credit for. The string theory stuff she talked about is a load of woo-woo. She takes spiritual advice from a cult leader that channels a 35,000-year-old warrior spirit named Ramtha. Look up Ramtha's School of Enlightenment. They like to take science like string theory and quantum mechanics and woo-woo it up to follow Ramtha's teachings. Waza 365 said. I think there's more intelligent girls in that industry than it often gets credit for. Yeah, there are girls that clearly aren't that intelligent, but others have made a smart choice to accept a well-paid opportunity. Which is fine if they are comfortable doing it. Same thing happens in sports. The smart ones know that it won't last very long, so they prepare for that situation. Res30 Stupid said. Actually, one of my favorite details from the film Legally Blonde comes from Warner saying this when he broke up with Elle. If I'm going to be a politician, I need to marry a Jackie, not a Marilyn. Warner is dismissive of Elle since he sees her as just a dumb blonde and that he needs a more respectable, smart wife who can help him politically, comparing her to the iconic dumb blonde to a Jackie Kennedy Onassis. Yeah, Warner, that's completely wrong. While Jackie went to college, it was a liberal arts school which she was sent to in order to find a respectable husband. She didn't even want to go to her alma mater, Vassar College, since she was a notorious party animal and her parents wanted to keep her from the turbulent New York party scene. Didn't work since she went to the big city every weekend. But Marilyn Monroe started as a working-class girl who not only turned herself into a cultural icon, she worked as her own manager and carefully controlled that image to get as much money out of it as possible. She may have been less respectable, but Marilyn Monroe was a hell of a lot more capable. Also, Warner? You can't be a senator before you're 30 years old. Someone actually was elected to the federal Senate when he was 29 and was forced to sit out of proceedings for 6 months until his 30th birthday. Nopinanaditwal said. Most people probably already know this, but Ronan Farrow is a genuine wunderkind. He started Bard College at age 11 after years of academic excellence, including a perfect SAT score. Graduated Bard at age 15, the youngest person to ever do so. Attended Yale Law and passed the New York State Bar. Then he got a PhD from Oxford and became a world-renowned journalist. He's written multiple books and, oh yeah, is a Rhodes Scholar.